Hi, my name's Jacob. Have you ever been off-roading not knowing what you may be getting yourself into? Well, today I'm going to be telling you a little bit about the different types of terrain, obstacles, and trails you may find yourself coming across while off-roading. I spent countless hours researching professional drivers and professional off-roaders and now have the proper knowledge to inform you guys on this topic. I will first start talking about the different types of terrain, then I will be talking about the different types of obstacles, and lastly, I'll be talking about the different types of trails you may find yourself off-roading on. First, let's talk about the different types of terrain. In off-roading, you have two main types of terrain. You have loose gravel and you have mud. Both are very frustrating to drive on. Reason being, loose gravel at high speeds is very, very slippery. Especially having those big off-roading knobby tires, you don't get good traction to begin with. So when off-roading, it's good to know around a turn if it's going to be loose gravel or compact gravel, because it's very, very dangerous. If you hit that turn too fast, you could possibly slip out and you could possibly roll your car, which isn't a good thing. Next, you have mud. Mud is very dangerous only because if you're going at slow speeds and you hit your gas a little bit too hard, it's going to cause your tires to over-rotate. And by over-rotating, it's going to cause an excess amount of mud to build up on your tires, as well as digging you into a deep, deep hole. As said by David Tracy from the Jalopnik on June 3rd, 2019, people with enormous purpose-built Jeep Wranglers on 40-inch tires will avoid the deep puddle. It's funny that he says this because these huge off-roaders that have huge, crazy, expensive rigs, they try to avoid mud as much as they can because they don't want to do something called killing their engine. If you get into a deep, deep hole in mud that's at least level with your engine, it can cause your engine to die. By doing that, you have something called an air intake, and that's strictly supposed to take in air. If it takes anything, water or mud, it's going to cause your engine to die, which isn't fun to deal with. Now that I talked to you a little bit about the different types of terrain, let's move on to the different types of obstacles. You have three main types of obstacles with off-roading. Fallen trees, you have boulders, and you have potholes. So fallen trees can be pretty difficult to get around, but if you have the proper equipment and have the proper knowledge of your truck, they can be very, very simple. Proper equipment as in you need a proper winch, you need to know the tow rating of the winch, the tow rating of the car, and that's going to allow you to winch the tree out of the trail and to continue. With boulders, you need to know your approach angle and your departure angle just so you can get your wheel over those boulders properly. And by knowing those angles, it's going to help you a lot. Another thing is normal city cars have two-wheel drive cars, or at least most of them do. Either the front two tires spin or the rear two tires spin. But with off-roading, you have this button that can allow 4x4. 4x4 is going to access it's going to allow all four tires to spin at the same power. Said by Nick Janes in A Guide to Off-Roading for the Uninitiated on August 29th, 2015, he says, in an all-wheel drive system, a computer is constantly making adjustments, shifting power to where it is needed. When off-roading, sometimes that isn't good. Sometimes you need 4x4 to allow you to have power to all four wheels, and it's just so much easier to have, and to have that proper knowledge in off-roading is going to help immensely. Now that I talked a little bit about the different types of terrain and different types of obstacles, let's move to the different types of trails you may find yourself on. So you may find yourself flying through the dunes of Pismo Beach, or climbing the side of Saddleback Mountain, even climbing the rocks and boulders in Moab. All of these vary differently with experience levels and knowledge. So Saddleback Mountain is a perfect example because it is a short one-way trail and it is very, very tight. And if you come across someone, you have to have the proper knowledge and etiquette to know that if you are going uphill, the person coming downhill has to pull over for you. Said by Driving Lane by Tara Herlin, published on April 6, 2020, it is very important to be flexible and to adapt to the circumstances at the turn of the wheel, even if it means choosing a different trail or, worst case, calling it a day or limping home. By saying this, she's saying you need to know your limit, and if you don't think you can make it up a trail like in Moab or in Saddleback Mountain, it is okay to turn around. you don't have to be ashamed of it, and it's good because it can actually save you possibly your life, possibly lots of money. In an article titled Off-Road Basics Trail Etiquette, published on May 29th, 2014 by Lori Carey, familiarize yourself with the agency trail signs. Trail signs frequently include color-coded difficulty levels and will indicate what modes or what most of trucks are permitted. So by knowing these signs, a perfect example is in Pismo Beach, it's just sand dunes. It is very open. You can go anywhere. All you have to do is just make sure you're not near anyone. But at Saddleback Mountain, there's more etiquette. You have to know when you have to pull over for someone, and you have to know the different types of trails, and there's certain signs for different trails, and you have to know what your truck is capable of. And it's very important because safety in off-roading is taken very seriously, and if you're not being safe while off-roading, it can hurt other people, it can hurt you, and it's just not a fun time. Today I got to tell you a little bit about the different types of off-roading. I got to tell you a little bit about the different types of terrains, the different types of obstacles, and the different types of trails you may find yourself on. I hope this gave you the proper knowledge to off-road safely. There's been countless hours of research done by many companies and many different drivers to properly off-road. I hope that you can properly study these and get on the road safely. Thank you very much.